Paradoxes completely change the way how you think about your life. And in the first part of this video, I introduced the first 6 of them. And if you missed that one, definitely check that one first before continuing with this video. And now let's just jump straight into 6 other paradoxes that show you that the way how you think about things right now might be a little bit wrong. The first one is the opportunity paradox. And it says that take on less and achieve more. What does this mean? That the more things you say yes to, the less time you're able to dedicate to each of them. And the less time you dedicate to a certain activity, the less progress you make in that specific area. That means that it can take you longer to get to your target dream results. And in order to prevent this, you just pick several but much fewer number of projects to dedicate your time to, because you realize that your time is your most valuable asset. And by saying no to things that do not matter to you, you create more time to spend on things that do matter to you. Every yes is a no to something else. So remember that your time is finite and you need to protect it. Another paradox is money paradox. And this one says that more money automatically does not mean more happiness. And this is something we are more and more aware of, especially with all those stories of people who have loads of money but are still miserable because their relationships are a mess, because their work on their inner self is a complete mess, because they do not have direction, they just have loads of money. But what is the point of having money if you do not have people around you to share it with? The paradox is that we chase money in hope that we will be happier. The more money you have, the happier you are. Is true to some extent, because then you can provide more for yourself and experience more things, and your life is definitely better than if you have no money at all. But this is more about achieving certain thresholds above which more money doesn't bring you happiness, but misery if it's at the expense of other areas like relationships or quality of your health and other meaningful pursuits in life. Research shows that happiness is better predicted by strong relationships rather than material accumulation. And this paradox, if we keep this in mind throughout everything we do, throughout our careers, throughout our choices, and we realize that what's truly important is not the money, but the things that we experience with people and the people who we experience it with. So this paradox is a reminder for all of us to focus on the most important, which are people around us and experiences we create together, rather than some material pursuit of something that will not bring us lasting happiness. And remember that if you serve other people and you provide value, you automatically attract money. So do not equal pursuing making more money with more happiness, and focus on rather building true wealth. 5 Types of Wealth by Sahil Bloom is a great book that talks about what actually a true wealth is. And I love Sahil and all his concepts, and even some of my videos are inspired by his newsletters where he shares all this wisdom about how to build a life on true wealth rather than pursuit of happiness through chasing money, because this is what actually matters in life, true wealth, and that's what we are trying to build rather than some temporary joy from making more money. So remember this paradox and keep building true wealth. Paradox number 3 is the boredom paradox, and this one says that boredom sparks creativity. I could not really understand this one for a very long time, and now I'm trying to discover the beauty of boredom, because I realized that I couldn't really sit still without doing anything. And that's so wrong, because that's the moment when we are not bombarded with information, when our brain is able to do the work, to connect the ideas, to come up with new ideas, to help you look at things from new perspectives. But if you're constantly just doing things, then you realize that there is no space for your brain to connect these dots. And that's maybe why you are stuck in different areas, because you don't let this space, this time for boredom to happen that will naturally help you resolve some of your problems. Your most interesting, captivating ideas come from this periods of boredom, whether it is during a walk when you don't listen to any music, you just go on a walk without headphones, whether it's when you are having shower or driving a car. These are the moments when your brain is still actively doing the work, but you are not physically aware that, okay, something's happening in the brain, but it is happening. But without providing our brains the space to do that, it's not gonna happen, and you can lose out on so many great ideas. So just be bored more often. This is something I am telling myself to do more. Overstimulation 24/7 just blocks your best ideas, so give yourself time to be bored, and this is the best thing how you can attract new ideas and something that's gonna give you more inner peace, because you realize that it's not about just doing more things, but doing something with the things you already have in mind, the ideas, and actually making use of it. Because the world is full of half-finished projects, half-written books. We are in this constant pursuit of trying new things and doing things, and okay, this inner dopamine we get from doing new things is amazing, but we need to keep going and pursue certain things for longer without just jumping from one thing to another. And this is what overstimulation does to our brain, and we want to do all different things and all the time and try new things, rather than letting our brain sit with certain ideas for longer, connect them, and actually move certain projects forward. So I'm definitely going to be working on this paradox, and it's so far my favorite one, and I'm actually very interested in which one you find the most interesting or most applicable to your life. So let me know in the comments down below. And let's move to another paradox. Another paradox is the speed paradox, and this one says that going faster can actually slow you down. When you're a programmer and you rush through the program, you introduce some bugs and then you need to spend hours fixing it. Whereas if you are programming slower and you're more careful, you avoid these mistakes and you end up finishing earlier your work because you get the code done without errors. This shows us that rushing creates mistakes that cost us more time. And this is something we often don't realize when we try to get through as many things from our to-do list as we possibly can, but then we realize at the end of the day that half of the work is just half well done work, and we realize that okay, the quality of it is definitely not the best, and that we could give more energy to it and maybe do 2 or 3 tasks less, but the ones that we do them properly. And we think that the more we do, the better it is, but that's not true. And I think this is my second most favorite paradox, because it clearly shows that sometimes the rush is just creating more work in the future, and you end up doing things longer just because you didn't do them properly the first time. So I rather now focus on setting one important thing for the day and do it well, and then moving forward with everything else, rather than doing 100 things and then realizing that half of them is not properly done. Things naturally take certain amount of time, and if we try to rush this natural process, okay, we might be more effective in a way that it takes us less time, but we do not realize the cost that it introduced and that we need to work even more in the future. It's just not worth it. So do things slowly, do things slower. And I'm learning this, we are learning this together. And that's the best thing we can learn, to slow down in this day and age when like more is done, the better it is. This is what the world is telling you. But the truth is, the slower you do things, the better you do things, and then the more things you can do in the long run. Number 5 is the talking paradox. And this one says that talk less to say more. What does this mean? There is a reason why we have 2 ears and just 1 mouth. If you want your words and ideas to be heard, think twice what you want to say out loud and what can stay in your head. Using less words and thinking more carefully about what we want to say not only helps us to prevent some things that we would otherwise cause if we didn't use our mouth well, but we also learn to formulate our ideas better. We learn how to construct sentences that make sense, because sometimes when you listen to people talking, you realize that have they even thought about before opening their mouth what they wanted to say? They just talk and it doesn't make sense if you think about it. So use less words and think about them in advance, and use those fewer words to say more to people who actually listen to you. And this goes also the other way around, that you listen to what others are saying, and that will allow you to formulate better responses. I left the most interesting paradox as the last one, and that's the death paradox. This one says that thinking about death actually helps you live a better life. At first it can sound negative or even depressing, but when you avoid death, you realize that you just drift. You waste your time, your energy, you procrastinate. But when you accept death, you gain clarity, urgency, and even find purpose. This can manifest through different areas of our life. Let's take relationships. People avoid saying, I love you, I'm sorry, I forgive you, because it can feel uncomfortable sometimes. But when faced with loss, they realize that these were the only things that mattered. Someone staying in a job that they hate and that's terrible and they do not enjoy, and that's wasting and draining their time and energy, and they keep telling themselves that, okay, I'm fine with this and I'll figure this out later. When something happens like an illness because of this terribly stressful job, they realize that this was not actually worth their time, and that they do not have unlimited time and unlimited energy, and that because the death is there, we need to make decisions with the time we have available. And it can sound at first very strange and weird, but When you think about it for longer, you realize how this idea of death and that we are all gonna die completely changed the way how you think about many things. Also, when you look at your everyday time use, how many hours you spend scrolling. Think about this. Look at your phone. Check how much time you spend on different applications on your phone. If your time is finite, is this the way how you want to spend your life? That question alone changes your behavior. If you remember that time is your more precious asset, and with every single decision and with every hour, you have less and less of it, and you have this idea in mind, you will make better decisions. So treat your time as your most valuable asset, and you'll see that your decisions are going to be changed based on how you value your time. If you don't value your time and you are still thinking that, okay, I have enough time, then okay, if that's fine with you, then do it. But I really want to make the most out of the time I have available on this earth, so I want to make decisions accordingly. Your time is your most valuable asset. Remember that. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I believe that paradoxes are everywhere and we need to be aware of them, because when we are aware of them, we can make better choices, and with better choices, we spend our time better. And what I've just said, it's our most valuable asset. I want you to go through your own life and identify these paradoxes in different areas of your life. I also made one video about paradoxes a while ago, and I of course mentioned different ones. So if this is a topic you're interested in, definitely check that one too. I really hope you enjoyed the video and that you can now avoid some of these paradoxes in your own life. And if you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And I'll be looking forward to seeing you next time. Bye.